Hi and welcome to Piggy Power's basic maintenance series, Maintenance 101. In this episode I'm going to show you about adjusting your handbrake. Now whether you like to use the button or you don't like to use the button, that's not up for conversation today. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't bother me at all whether you do that or not. What is important is this is adjusted correctly. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, you don't want to be part of a YouTube video fail where your car is rolling down the street and you're running after it. The second reason is it could fail your MOT, which is annoying. The third reason is you could do with just a decent handbrake. It also does affect your foot brake. So if your foot brake has a little bit of slack before you start feeling resistance, then it's likely your handbrake or actually your rear shoes in your drums aren't adjusted correctly. So your handbrake might not feel very well, but it might not actually be the handbrake or the cables. It could actually be, and most likely be, the adjustment of the rear brakes. I'm going to cover drums. Of course, we will cover some aspects that will help you adjust if you've got rear discs or calipers over a disc on the rear, as opposed to drums that I've got on here. So there is an adjuster just down here behind the handbrake. I'll show that a little bit later. But let me just show you the movement we've got in this handbrake. So, this handbrake, notice you've just got a little bit of movement or slack. Now it's likely the cables are just a little bit stretched, but it is also just as likely that the rear shoes need some adjustment. Now there is an automatic adjuster on the rear shoes, which I'll show you later, which when roughly translated from car manufacturing language means you're going to have to do it yourself. So we want to get rid of that, and you're probably going to have that same amount of play or slack in when you put your foot on your foot brake. So we want to get rid of that, basically. The other issue is obviously you might have a handbrake which is way too high. I mean it's almost bolt upright. So you can count the clicks. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that is about the limit it should be, but we've been fine when driving the vehicle. We have to go like that. So we're 6, 7, maybe even 8 on a hill. It's no good. I like to have 3 to 4 clicks, the rear wheels holding nice and firmly. That's perfectly possible with well-serviced brakes. So, I'm going to take my foot brake, the handbrake off. I'm going to chock the front wheels, and then I'm going to show you how to adjust the rear brakes on drums and shoes.
The essentials you will need to adjust your rear brakes correctly are the following. I've got something to remove a wheel nut or the wheel entirely. You just have obviously a wheel brace. I have a little torch and a flat-bladed strong screwdriver. Additionally, for the purposes of a 306 or a 206 or 106, a 13mm spanner and a T20 Torx bit, or Phillips if someone's replaced those with Phillips screws in some time of its life. That's all you'll need.
Now the first thing you want to do is actually wind the adjuster back on the handbrake. The reason being, someone may in the past have previously adjusted the handbrake and the brakes, but only on the cables, which means when you go to adjust them at the drums there might not seem any adjustment there, but you just end up taking more and more slack out the cable and tightening up the drums, which is the improper way of doing it. It's probably what 9 out of 10 people do, but it's the wrong way. So we're going to gain access to this adjuster. Now on some you can just sort of see through the gap here, the adjuster. It might be a 10mm, on a lot of Vauxhalls and stuff there's just a 10mm nut just back here and you can get a socket to it, which is ideal. On the 306s mostly they're back here somewhere and you have to access them from behind. So there's a little flap here. On a 306 there's a little ashtray that comes back, there's one screw on here, and on the 306s there's a couple of screws and a couple of bolts at the front. 206 actually is really easy, sorry about the mess. So I'm just going to get a screwdriver, flick that flap back, and there's a little Torx head screw there, and we'll remove this cover. So hopefully you could just see that little Torx head there, T20 or 15 or something. I'll just remove that now, and we can take this cover off. So our cover just lifts up and out the way, revealing this flap. Pull the flap back, and there's the adjuster. Spanner or socket, you're obviously going to need a deep socket. It's 13mm, and we need to unwind that this way to just make sure there's no tension on these cables, which are sort of pre-tensioning the shoes and the adjuster. We want that all free so we can do the adjusters ourselves. So now that's all nice and loose, we can now go in, raise up the vehicle, put it on an axle stand and take the wheel off. You might not have to take the wheel off if you've got a steel wheel that's quite flat faced, then all you've got to take is one wheel bolt out. So that's one tool you'll need to take a wheel bolt out. You then need to turn the wheel, or the drum, if you've taken the whole wheel off for easy access like I have, because my alloys on this are very, very deep. Use a small torch. Look in the wheel bolt you've taken out, or one of the holes, and turn it until you see a little stepped, toothed wheel. And now, because I have tried, I promise, the camera won't pick up and focus through this tiny hole, I'm going to take the drum off to show you that mechanism. This you won't have to do, unless you completely get it wrong. It's not that difficult if that happens. You take this cover off, take the nut off, take the drum off, but that's all I'm going to do to show you is take the drum off. You don't have to do this step. And basically what you're going to be doing is, once you've found the wheel that I'm about to show you, you turn it into the position you're at, until you can see the wheel through. You get your flat-headed little screwdriver, you put it in, and you turn the wheel until the drum, when spun, has slight resistance. At the moment you can see it spinning very freely. Having someone in the car putting their foot brake on the brake will help with this process, but you can do that without it, and I do it most of the time without, because I work on my own. So I'm just going to take this drum off just so you can see what you need to be adjusting. So there's the wheel you need to adjust, and to know which way to adjust it, hopefully this camera will focus on it, you can see there is a directional edge to these teeth, so you go in the direction they're pointing basically, because this little thing here is meant to stop it rotating back on itself. So with this one we're going to turn the wheel and push it that way, so we'd be going through the hole and then pushing down on the wheel on the back edge of each tooth, pushing down. Don't think I can do it. Basically you're doing that, but not against this lovely spring, against the wheel hole. So you'd be putting the screwdriver in, levering down. Do 1 or 2 clicks, spin the hub, see if it still spins freely. If you've gone too many clicks, you'll have to just try and click it back. That's the point at which you want to put some pressure on the brake pedal to help you do that. That can happen with a stick on the brake pedal or get a mate. So let's put the drum back on, now you know what you're looking at, and I'll just show you how simple it is. So you'd be getting your torch and your screwdriver, getting through there, and flick the wheel down. In some vehicles it'd be flicking up, it just depends on the way the setup is. So have a good look inside with a good torch and see which direction this wheel is going to go. You'll soon know, because it's really difficult to flick it back. It's very easy to put it on. So if it's proven very difficult and the drum keeps spinning freer and freer, you're going the wrong way and you need to go the other way. So that's what you're going to do. So I'm just going to find my position. There it is, I can see the wheel nice and clearly. Put my screwdriver in and give it a few turns. Should be able to hear it clicking. Let it spin. No, need some more adjustment on that. Still more needed yet. It was struggling there, so I put a piece of wood between the chair and the foot brake to apply some weight to the foot brake. I'm going to do that again now. Some are trickier than others. Right, so there you go. So I've gone probably 1 or 2 clicks, maybe too much. Can't move my drum. So I'm going to try and flick back 1 or 2. Ah, there we go. We might have just found the sweet spot. There's just a little tiny bit of rubbing. Hopefully you can pick up on the camera. We want just a tiny bit more than that. That's about right. Once you've got a wheel of motion on that, bob on. So there's 1 or 2 spins and then it grips. So what we need to do now
is going to do the same on the other drum, other side, on the left hand side, and then we'll go inside and have a look at the little handbrake adjuster just to take the slack out of the cables, because that's all the internal adjuster's for, the slack out of the cables, not the adjustment of the brakes. So we're now back in the car. We've adjusted both sides. The other side need a little bit of adjustment as well. You might find that this will actually help take some of the slack out of this cable, but if you're anything like me, you just take out so much of it to give you adjustment in the back that it's still going to be pretty hopeless. So this is the point now where we do this nut up here, 13mm on those Peugeots and Citroens, and then when you get to other vehicles sometimes it's 12 or it's a 10 and it's up here somewhere. So I'm just going to use a ratchet 13mm spanner. You might have to use a socket, and sometimes you can just, up on a 3 or 6, let's get some way a bit. You can just lift out the bottom of the and the rear of the trim that goes here and put an extension, the 13mm deep socket, so you don't have to take out all the trim, which is a bit of a pain because it never goes past the handbrake properly on a 3 or 6. Right, it's feeling better now, and the way you'll know is that as soon as you touch the handbrake, as soon as I touch the handbrake, cable moves. See that? So there's a tiny little bit of play in there at the moment. It's just lifting the adjuster off the floor basically. So there's a tiny bit more adjustment that can be had. Just going to go quarter turns at this time because I don't want to be pulling these on too tight. Now, a good way to tell whether you've done it right or not is to have your wheels up on the axle stand still and to spin the wheel once you've done this adjustment. If there's serious binding, you've done it too much and you need to back it out a little bit. This is starting to feel good now. There's just a little bit. I'm trying to do this one-handed. I should have put the camera on a stand. Sorry about that, guys. Just a little bit more of a turn. Right, that feels good. Now, as soon as I just move the handbrake, so does the cable. That's what you want. So as soon as you put pressure on the handbrake or lifting it, the cable moves. There we go, see that? You can just see the cables moving as soon as I move the handbrake. And there's still a little bit, just a little bit. It's not holding it tight, i.e. it's not holding actually the shoes on the wheel, which is no good. That's not what you want. And the foot brake, that feels good. As soon as I got pressure on the foot brake, there's pressure under my foot in return. So that's nice. There we go. And of course we've now got the click test. So before, remember, we had 5 clicks and then we could even go to 7 or 8. So now, in the wrong position, 3 clicks with some serious leverage, and there's holding the wheels tight. Beautiful. So we're just going to put the trim back on there now. So that was just basically how to adjust your handbrake the proper way with drums. It's a little bit different with rear calipers if they're discs. So the basic principles do apply. Now you could just adjust that, and obviously that would improve things, but it's not the proper way to do it. There's many reasons not to do it that way. Haven't got time for that. It's been long enough showing this guide. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I've been helpful in some way. That was Piggypowerrrr, a 101 maintenance on adjusting your rear brakes. If you've got any questions, or I missed something out, or you think I missed something out, or I definitely did miss something out, then put the comments below. Please subscribe, that helps the channel, and please watch my other videos. Some of them are for entertainment purposes only.